And 2, 3. Oh, 2, 3 now.
Live. So we got
Yes.
look into the camera, look to the camera.
It does. Everything is open. We can do whatever. I will look at you. That's the most important. You can look at the camera. I mean, you are the spoken word artist. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for being here. We are live now on the YouTube from Warm.
Mhm.
Harmen, Meinsma, Kiss, Darkroom. Well, let me just take also my notes. I have some performers here today. Well, first of all, I saw you perform at the Queer Performance Night here in Rotterdam in September, I think the 22nd, something like that.
20, yes.
Yeah, well,
Something like that.
something like
Time
that.
is relative.
Yeah, that is true. That's true. I was really mesmerized by your performance. I
Thank you so much.
really loved it.
I really appreciate it.
I mean, how you speak, of course, you're a spoken word artist, but it's so fluent, so nice. I love it. It was really, really good.
Thank you so much.
I wanted to ask you then, but I was kind of like, oh, I don't know, I'm scared. So thank God for Instagram.
Thank God for Instagram, connecting people.
Yeah, connecting people, also in a good way. So I asked you if you wanted to be here to be interviewed by Darkroom.
And it's my absolute pleasure.
Thank you. And well, first of all, I love spoken word artists, and it's really like, how do you become a spoken word artist? Like, that's the first question.
Yes. Well, I can only talk about my own personal process because
Of course.
there's so many paths in life that come through it.
Yeah.
For me, I'm a queer Mexican poet, and my background is in communication. I also have a background in theater, performing arts, also contemporary dance. So I love the stage. I love the way performing arts helps you unravel different parts of yourself by embodying other stories, the stories of other people, of other characters.
Wow.
Somewhere down the line, I started writing as a way to find my own personal voice, as a way of processing growing up my identity, my sexual orientation, all this, the queerness within me. And in the beginning, it was really abstract, and over the years, started falling into place. All this, the pieces of the puzzle started making sense. And over time, I started transitioning from theater into spoken word, mostly because I felt the need to embody this narrative that I was building for myself and also for my community. Because I believe poetry and spoken word is so important for the LGBTQ plus community.
Yeah.
Because we're used to hearing and seeing our stories being told through the lens of
Heterosexuals.
yes, this heteropatriarchal system.
Yes.
And it either misrepresents us or it only shows histories of pain or trauma.
Yeah.
And for me, for
The fun is left out. it
that
looks
as well,
like, yeah.
that as well. And for me and for my team at Unwanted Words, which is a platform for up and coming queer spoken word artists and poets, it's important
Wow.
to provide the spaces so artists can take ownership and autonomy of their own narratives and share it with a community that can feel identified with it, reflected in it, inspired by it.
I think it's really, really good what you're doing, because that was like somewhere like my second question, like unwanted words. It's too bad. I'm from Amsterdam. It's too bad that we don't have something like that, at least not what I know of. So, well, I also know now why you started those projects, because obviously, the queer, it's a very, very small amount what you see in media, and that's not reflecting your case. And I think, actually, to be honest, like a lot of cases. Well, actually, also my third question. The scene here as a poetry like artist looks so much bigger than in other cities
Mhm.
in the Netherlands. How come? Do you know why? I'm very curious. I mean, like you're the first spoken word artist I have actually, so maybe you know why it's really like I don't know, crawling here much more than
In other
elsewhere.
places. Well,
Yes.
I'm. I wouldn't. Um, I'm not fully sure. I can only assume things. I've only been living here in Rotterdam for less than 3 years,
Oh,
so I'm
quite
fairly
new.
new here.
Yeah.
Uh, what we need to take into account with spoken word is that um, it's a form of poetry that comes from slam poetry and expressions of art and art speech
Mhm.
from black communities very often. It's very
Yeah,
influenced
true.
by this urban culture, by hip hop.
Mhm.
So, as spoken word artists, we also need to honor that history
Yeah.
and embody intersectionality in what we do because it comes from that. Just as so many things in current culture are influenced by black culture and black
Yeah,
communities.
true.
And since Rotterdam
Disco
is
house.
yes, since
I think almost everything, to be honest. So yeah.
it's highly influential and then it gets
Yeah.
appropriated and all that. And since Rotterdam is such a diverse city and it's a city where underground cultures thrive, when a city that is built for the future,
Mhm.
that embodies feminism, innovation, diversity,
Yeah.
it's a city where all these narratives and these identities merge, unite,
Wow.
and that's why all these initiatives are popping up. It's like we need to tell these stories. We
Yeah.
need to find our community. We need to discuss identity, discuss racism, discuss representation,
Mhm.
and that's what I see here in Rotterdam. It's booming. It's thirsty for proposals of authenticity and representation.
Yes. Wow. It's beautifully said. Like really beautiful. I'm like really curious about Rotterdam now. It seems like much more like,
Check it out.
yeah, like innovating than Amsterdam. And how do you prepare for a show? So yeah, how do you prepare for a show?
It depends what kind of show because
Mhm.
on the one side I'm a spoken word artist, but I'm also a host. So with Unwanted Words, we have our series of queer poetry nights,
Mhm.
shows where we have lineups of LGBTQ plus people with an intersectional lens,
Mhm.
and what we do as team and what I try to do as host is try to open a space that feels as safe as possible. It cannot be safe for everybody 100% all the time. You never know the stories and the backgrounds and all the sensibilities and identities that are in place. So
Yeah.
you all can only try to assure that. So whenever I'm doing a show and I'm the host, I try to make all the performers feel as safe as possible, as seen as possible, acknowledge their identities, their pronouns, um, and establish these ground rules in our events with the audience as well about consent, respect,
Yeah.
privacy, openness, kindness. Whenever I'm preparing as a performer, just trying to remember my words, breathe in, breathe out,
Yes.
and enjoy the moment, being
Yeah.
present and
Yeah.
sharing, uh, hoping that what I have to share can resonate in other people. So there are
Wow.
two different processes.
Yeah, but very, very, yeah, that's true. Like two different approaches, but very, very nice. Also,
Thanks.
very um, important that as a host that you, I mean, you open like a safe space for everybody. So very good, thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate
um,
it.
how is this time for you as an artist at this moment, like the COVID-19 period time?
The tricky thing of any creative person or person that works within the world of arts
Hmm.
is that your life and your identity is never separated from your craft.
Yeah.
This year has been particularly hard for me because I lost my mom to cancer right
Oh,
before
so
the big
sorry.
lockdown happened.
Oof.
My world fully collapsed, and I was privileged enough to have a safety net of friends and family, and a job that kept me
Same.
sane and working from home where I was recovering. At some point, I started trying to heal a little bit, and I took a break from everything. It's like sometimes you just need to surrender, allow yourself
To
to break,
grieve,
to
and
grieve.
it's very important.
And in a way, I put the poetry aside.
Hmm.
At some point, I took it back rather than me as a creator, me um, as the head of Unwanted Words. When we
Hmm.
started organizing the first queer and feminist poetry awards, and for me, that was a big driver. I couldn't work on personal things that told my story. I was grieving my own story.
Yeah.
So if I couldn't deal with that, at least I could create a space for others in collaboration with my team. And in this sense, what drive me mostly this year was working with all these organizations like Warm that hosted
Hmm.
us, Dona Daria, the Hangout, Awesome Foundation, Tender Center, Queer Rotterdam, all these beautiful organizations that helped us,
Hmm.
Poetry Circle, Open Rotterdam, to acknowledge the talent and the excellence that already exists in our community, in our LGBTQ plus community, that working with poetry and spoken word. That was for me a big kind of hope that helped me go out through this really dark year.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I also lost my mother. It was but 15 years ago. So the period when you agree, for me, it was like, I don't know, like a bomb. You and you're waiting for, you don't know when it's going to collapse. You're
Yeah.
waiting for the big moment of like total grief, but it's
And it comes
it
in waves.
yeah, it's like this. And you will always miss your mother, I can tell that. And you will always think, I would love to call her right now. But in a way, you start living with it. And the thing is, what I learned is that she's in you, and put it, put your
Love
mother
shines
out.
within.
Yeah, put it out there, what you were taught. And that's basically, yeah, how you kind of like, I don't know, manage to deal with it, or probably
Yeah.
so.
And the best way to honor the memories of our mothers is by embodying what they taught us. And
Yes.
what the biggest thing that she taught me was kindness, love, and she taught me how to be a feminist man.
Wow.
And that's why the awards event had such a big element of feminism.
Mhm.
What is my role as a cis gay man with all the privilege,
Yeah.
uh, in a space that is open for feminism? And at this stage, what I concluded, the way I can honor her memory
Mhm.
is by opening spaces for other queer, femme, women, cis women, trans women, women of color,
Mhm.
other types of queer performers, non-binary people, trying to use my privilege, my resources, and the effort of my amazing team and put it into
Wow.
place for this. That's the way I can keep her memory alive.
Wow, that's really, yeah. My mother was also a feminist.
High five.
Yeah, I'm wearing gloves.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's wow. It's very that you're honoring your mother to do that. It's like very, very powerful. Yeah. Well, maybe it's like, do you have like any idols or inspirations throughout your life or daily or? Who are they? And what
uh,
are they?
I go from admiring people around me,
Mhm.
my partner, my friends, mentors, my boss. I admire her so much. When it comes to public figures, one of the artists that I admired the most and that guided me when I was growing up was Woodkid, who is this French musician.
Okay.
It's
We're gonna look it
really
up.
great music, but the takeaway for me was an artist that transcended disciplines. He's a musician, but by formation, he's a graphic designer who was
Wow.
also a video clip director that produced videos for Rihanna, for Katy Perry, like that level, and then created a body of work that was insightful, was about a coming of age story of his.
I love coming of age stories.
Right, right.
Yes.
Everybody can relate to that.
Yes.
And on top of that, it was like he became a composer of music, a performer, 3D designer. And for me growing up, I was like, it is possible to not limit yourself to only one discipline.
Yeah.
You can expand, and your potential is limitless. And since a few years ago, another person that really, really admires India Moore, which is
Oh yeah.
this
From
non-binary
Pose.
trans
Yeah.
person,
Wow, she's so
actor, activist,
pretty.
so
God damn
pretty,
it.
so outspoken,
Yeah.
fighting for rights of so many identities. It's the kind of person that once they reach a certain level of privilege and status, doesn't stop fighting for everyone.
Yeah.
They come back and help pave the way for everybody that comes after them. And now they just got the Vogue cover in India,
Yeah.
which was incredible. Like a trans non-binary
Yeah.
a woman of color. Sorry, probably it's not woman. Trans non-binary person of color.
Yeah.
And the cover of Vogue
Yes.
in India, which is a country that is
That's
not
very. I think.
yes, not
Yeah.
as LGBTQ plus
No.
friendly as other places. Now they can marry.
Yeah. Oh my
Um,
God.
It's really beautiful. It's
Yeah.
really inspiring.
Wow. Okay. Like, of course, my last question. What are your dreams? What would you like in this world? Tell me, or tell the listeners, the viewers.
um, I think one of my I would like to become a creative director that transcends disciplines and someone that can have the energy to always produce and evoke inspiration and creativity and pour it in everything I do. I would really like to become the kind of person can that can inspire someone like me growing up. I would love to be that.
Like an example, like
Yes, I would.
queer little boys.
You
Can I
know,
say little boys?
Yes.
Young boys
Oh,
in Mexico.
young queer
or,
people saying like it's possible. It gets better.
Yeah.
You're worth it.
Mhm.
You should always strive for safety, for love, for creativity, using radical queerness as a form to redefine yourself and reinterpret everything you know and make it work towards something that works for you rather than what society tells you
Yeah.
that should be. I that's my biggest dream, to reach that point where I can touch people and change lives.
Wow. No, that's a very powerful message. Like really powerful. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Well, you inspired me, to be honest. So that's one person, a Dutch queer girl.
appreciate
So
it so
that's
much.
probably much more who saw you perform. So thank you for your appearance here, for your
Thank you for the invitation.
yeah, and I hope to see you very soon. I'm very, very curious about the unwanted words. I'm going to check it out when it's going to be again, and I would love to hear it and like see all the
Yes,
performers.
amazing. And now we have our YouTube channel that has all the performers from the first Queer and Feminist Poetry Awards. You can also check the entire live stream of the event, so you can see all these beautiful stories and amazing talent that we have here in Rotterdam and around
Yay.
in Dutch and English. So you can check it out.
Okay.
Unwanted Words on YouTube. And get
Okay.
inspired.
Yay! We're gonna check it out. Thank you. I'm going to end the live stream. Thank you. Oh wow. Oh, I'm gonna check it out.